Hi people, it's me Anja, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new video. Today's video focuses on my favorite science fiction books. Science fiction isn't a genre that I read all that often because it has a tendency to sound all the same very quickly. So that's why I only have 5 books to talk about. But the first book on this list is called Across the Universe. This story is so good. It's a YA science fiction story that follows 2 characters, one girl who wakes up 50 years too soon in this ship that's supposed to wake her up 300 years in the future, and the boy, Eldor, who's the future leader of the ship, and he's her only clue to figure out why she woke up earlier than she was supposed to. You know, this book is so good. I really enjoyed it. I think that Beth Revis is such an underrated, talented author. Her writing is just so good. The way that she developed these 2 characters, the way that she developed this world was just so good. I just really enjoyed this story. This book is the first in a trilogy, and this trilogy is one of my favorite trilogies of all time because it's absolutely so good. I really enjoyed the plot, the world building, the characters, the romance. Every single element of this story was absolutely so good. So with that, this trilogy is so underrated and for what, and with that, I highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Sky Without Stars. This story is a YA science fiction retelling of Les Mis, and it's written by Joanne Rendell and Jessica Brody. These 2 authors are so talented with their world building, with their plot, with their character development. This story is so good. It's so rich. It's so wonderful. It's so lovely. The plot is so intriguing. Each of the characters' perspectives were so distinct and so diverse, and each of them added something new to the story. You know what I mean? There are 3 character perspectives, and all of them are such well-developed characters, and I love them so much. These authors are so talented. The world building in this story was so well done and just so good. The 3rd book in this trilogy is one of my most anticipated 2021 releases because I am so excited to dive back into this world with these characters because this book is so good and it's so underrated. And for what, as a person who had very minimal knowledge of Les Mis, I had no idea what to expect from this story, and I had no idea that I was going to love it so much. This story is absolutely so good and it's just so tremendous, you know what I mean? And with that, I highly recommend it. The next book on this list is pretty popular compared to the other books on this list, but anyway, it's Warcross, written by Marie Lu. This story is so good. Marie Lu is such a talented author, and this story is no exception. It's a YA science fiction story that follows Amika Chen, who's this hacker, and she accidentally hacks into Warcross, and instead of being arrested like she expects, she's offered a job as a spy. And Warcross is this immersive video game, competitive video game that's kind of brought to life, and it's so cool and it's so popular and it's just so cool. Like, I would love to play Warcross, or at least watch it, since I'm not very skilled at like video games, so I'd probably lose. But anyway, this story is so good. Like I said, Marie Lu is such a talented author, and I love her books so much because she is so skilled at world building, at character development, at romance, at developing the plot. I am so excited to see this book come to life and its TV show adaptation. I think that this TV show adaptation deserves just as much hype as the Shadow and Bone adaptation, which I know is a very like high, tall order, you know what I mean? But anyway, this book is so good. It deserves all of its hype and so much more. I am so excited to see it come to life as a TV show because this book definitely deserves it because it's so good. The world building pops off. The character development pops off. The romance is so wonderful. The plot is so intriguing. Marie Lu is such a talented author and she deserves it all. You know what I mean? The sequel to this book was also quite solid. So with that, I would highly recommend this book if you haven't read it already. The next book on this list is called Bonds of Glass. This story is a YA science fiction story that follows a young pilot who risks everything to save his best friend, only to discover that his best friend is the heir to a brutal galactic empire. This story is so good. This author is so talented with her world building, with her Achillean romance, with the plot, with the character development. I am so excited to read this sequel in September because I know that it's going to be absolutely so good, because this book was so good. It was so much better than I was expecting. I just remember like falling in love with this world building, with the plot, with the romance. The romance was so cute. It was so cute. It was so wonderful. This book is possibly one of my favorite books with an Achillean male romance, because it was absolutely so good and just so well developed, and I just really enjoyed it. But even aside from that, the character development, the plot was so intriguing and so well done. The world building was so good. I am so excited to continue this series. Like I said, the sequel comes out in September, and the third book is expected to come out next year. And anyway, I'm just so excited because this book is so good, and with that, I highly recommend it. The last book on this list, but certainly not the least, is called Goddess and the Machine. This story is absolutely so good. It's a YA science fiction story that follows two characters. One of them who's a girl who wakes up 1,000 years after she's expected to. She expected to wake up 100 years. But no, it's 1,000 years after she's expected to. And everybody is calling her Goddess. She has no idea why, but she has to play the role because masquerading as the goddess could result in her death. So she doesn't want that. And the second perspective is an exiled prince who wants the goddess to help him retake his claim on the throne. So that's fun. This book is so good. I really enjoyed it. I really just fell in love with this story, with the world building, with the plot, with the character development, with the romance. I am so excited to read this sequel. I think it comes out in June or July. I'm not completely sure, but I'm just so excited to see what happens next and how the author is going to conclude everything, because I believe that this book is going to be a duology, you know what I mean? Which means that the author is going to wrap everything up in the second book, and I have no idea how she's going to do that, but I am very excited to see what will happen next, because this book was so good. The world building, the plot, the character development, this story popped off, and I just really enjoyed it. And with that, I highly recommend it because it's absolutely so good, and it absolutely deserves all of its hype and so much more. So in conclusion, all these books are so good and they all popped off, so I highly recommend them all. If you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the astronaut emoji so that I know that you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!